everyone, and welcome to the Data for Food 2030 podcast. In this podcast series, we focus on the project's 9 case studies. These are real-life examples that aim to map and improve the data economy for food systems. In today's episode, we spotlight the case study, the Sustainability Insight System, or THESIS for short. For this reason, I'm very happy to welcome Emil Georgiev from the project partner Wageningen University Research. Emil is an expert in the field of sustainability in food products, working as a researcher in the THESIS case study, and together we will discuss everything about it. Emil, welcome and thank you very much for joining us today and accepting our invitation to this podcast.
Thank you for having me, and it's my pleasure.
So let's start from the beginning. Could you provide an overview of the THESIS case study and also outline its main objectives?
Yes, sure, I can do this. And first, I'd like to say a few words about THESIS as a performance assessment tool, and second, as a case study in the Data for Food project. THESIS, as you already said, stands for Sustainability Insight System, and basically it's a tool that is helping companies in the food and consumer goods sector figure out how to become more sustainable. Developed by the Sustainability Consortium, THESIS is a global science-based performance assessment tool. It's used by retailers and suppliers across the US, UK, and Australia to measure and improve sustainability in over 350 product categories, from food to clothing and to household items. So what makes THESIS stand out? It has 6 big objectives. The first one is it benchmarks sustainability using standardized KPIs, key performance indicators. It uncovers hidden hotspots in the supply chain, something like carbon emissions or labor rights issues. It reduces survey fatigue by offering one standardized assessment for multiple retailers. It turns data into actions and helping businesses make smarter and greener decisions, support continuous improvement and annual updates and feedback. And finally, it promotes transparency and accountability across the board. But as I already said, THESIS is not just a tool, it's also the case study in the Data for Food project. So in the context of Data for Food, THESIS is helping strengthen demand signals for sustainable practices, lower the barriers for suppliers to report their data, and integrate primary data collected by THESIS as secondary data from public available sources like life cycle assessment databases to create more accurate sustainability scores. So this is more or less in general overview of THESIS and the THESIS case study.
Thank you very much for this very well outlined introduction. And I would like to ask you what initially inspired the development of this case study.
The short answer to this question is it is about making sustainability reporting easier, smarter, and more impactful. The long answer is this case study was inspired by the growing demand for transparency and sustainability in the consumer goods supply chain. As the consumer expectation and regulation increased, businesses needed better tools to track and improve their sustainability efforts. At the same time, suppliers were overwhelmed by repetitive surveys, sustainability surveys from different retailers, and that's why THESIS was created to simplify this process, offering a standardized, efficient way to collect and share sustainability data.
Thank you very much. And how was the specific topic or sector selected for this case study?
So we selected the consumer packaged goods supply chain because it is global, complex, and has a big environment and social impact, from food to electronics. This sector touches everything. Better data can drive real sustainability change. THESIS was already doing a lot in this area, and as I already said, THESIS assessments are used by major retailers across the US, UK, and Australia, covering national brands and private labels, and including retailers such as Walmart, Woolworths, Costco, and THESIS USA.
To achieve all its very ambitious goals, are you implementing any key strategies or activities in this case study?
Yes, sure. In this case study, we have three innovative activities. There are three innovative activities in play. The first one is smart use of life cycle assessment data. This case study is utilizing life cycle assessment data. Think of it like deep dive into the product environmental footprint. The case study is using sources, public available sources like agri-food database, but also collaborating with eco-labeling initiatives to figure out where the biggest environmental impacts are hidden across the thousands of products. The second activity is running a pilot. The case study is running a pilot looking at everything from milk and frozen meals to clothes and cleaning supplies. The goal of it is to see how smart use of lifecycle assessment data actually works on the retail store shelves. And the third activity is recognition to the top performers. The case study is working on sustainability badges to recognize top performing suppliers, something like business-to-business communication and potentially consumer-facing recognition.
And once all its goals are achieved, how are the outcomes expected to benefit stakeholders within the food system?
The short answer is it's all about turning sustainability insights into action and action into advantages. From THESIS benefits everyone in the food system, from farmers to retailers. With better visibility into environment and social impact, stakeholders can make smarter decisions. For example, this will lead to lower costs, stronger brand reputation, easier sustainability reporting, and better marketing positioning for sustainable products and practices. Other examples are retailers gain insights into suppliers' performance and the retailers can make more informed sourcing decisions. Suppliers, they receive benchmarking tools and improvement recommendation, and consumers may eventually benefit from more transparent product labeling. And finally, policymakers and NGOs can make use of harmonized data and science-based data.
So, as I understand, a lot of stakeholders groups can benefit from the outcomes of the THESIS case study, which is very important, as you mentioned earlier. And so far, has there been any measurable progress in improving sustainability and efficiency in consumer product supply chains?
Oh yes, sure. So far, THESIS has helped several companies identify inefficiencies, reduce waste, and adopt more sustainable sourcing practices. It also promoted culture of transparency and continuous improvement among the supply chain partners. This is what I'm talking is not just a talk. For example, the 2024 THESIS Impact Report shows real shift backed by data, showing that sustainability in supply chain is not only possible but happening in real. I will give you some examples. Over 60% of companies using THESIS now have science-based climate targets. This is a big step towards cutting emissions. Packaging is getting greener, according to the THESIS data, with some brands using up to 30% recycled content and reducing overall material use. Circularity is on the rise as well, according to the data. Companies reported 20% boost in product recyclability. And finally, retailers' participation jumped 25%, and suppliers are performing better in energy, water use, and labor issues.
As I understand, these numbers speak for themselves and are really impressive, and you have achieved a lot so far. But now regarding the long-term impacts. What long-term impacts do you anticipate from the THESIS case study in promoting sustainable practices among supply chain stakeholders?
Looking ahead, THESIS could really shake things up in a good way, of course. It's expected to have the following long-term impacts. Standardizing sustainability metrics across industries and making it easier to track and compare progress, to foster continuous improvement by enabling benchmarking and celebrating top performers, supporting companies with evolving EU and US sustainability disclosure regulations, and perhaps the most significant, THESIS could serve as a blueprint for pushing sustainability into digital data ecosystem. And by doing this, it will concrete the way for integration with the future European data space.
Now I would like to ask you, in what ways does THESIS support agri-food businesses in measuring and enhancing their sustainability performance through data? You have talked about it a little bit, but I would like us to expand on this topic.
Yes, sure. THESIS actually translates complex sustainability data into clear indicators. So THESIS helps agri-food business track sustainability with tailored KPIs, key performance indicator, helps them measure key impacts like emissions and water use, help them also benchmark performance and get smart recommendations for improvements. So businesses can track their performance over time, compare with peers, and receive guidance on how to improve in the future.
And how can improved access to sustainability insights contribute to positive change across the food supply chain, from producers to consumers?
Yes, the answer is very simple actually. Better sustainability insights empower everyone, from farmers to retailers. When everyone has the same access to the same sustainability insights, it creates a shared understanding and accountability. This leads to more responsible practices, better products, and stronger trust between consumers and producers.
Of course, because sometimes sustainability can be a very vague and blurry concept in people's minds. So having very well outlined performance indicators and structured plan can actually give something practical to all the food supply chain, which is one of the very important aspects of this case study, as I understand.
Yes.
Thank you very much. And one final question before we finish our discussion for today. How does THESIS contribute to the overall goals of the Data for Food 2030 project?
So this is still early to say, but THESIS is actually kind of prime example of how data can drive sustainability. It facilitates data sharing and contributes to responsible and inclusive data economy. THESIS contributes by showing how data can be turned into actionable insights. It supports the overall Data for Food project vision of a fair and inclusive data economy, but making sustainability data accessible and useful for all stakeholders, not just companies or large corporations.
So, as I understand, it is a real-life example, as I mentioned at the beginning, that aims to map and improve the data economy for food systems, as all 9 case studies of the project. So, thank you very, very much for your answer, and also thank you very much for participating in today's podcast and sharing all your insights with us today.
Thank you, it's my pleasure to share with you all these insights.
And as for you, dear viewers and listeners, thank you very much for watching this episode, and don't forget to stay tuned for all the next episodes.